Hey, campus pastors and young married group leaders. This is the video for the month of October for the discussions and the groups that are getting ready to come up here this week. First, just want to stop and say thank you guys so much. We've been getting some great feedback on the young married groups and the impact that you're making in their lives. And just thank you for investing in these marriages, in these young people's lives, and being a part of what God is doing and shaping them and continuing to call them into who He has created them to be. This month, we're going to be jumping into holidays and traditions. And first, we're going to start off with Thanksgiving and with thankfulness. I was having a conversation just 20 or 30 minutes ago with one of my staff members. And at the end of the conversation, she asked me, she goes, hey, can you tell me what I'm doing good? And it wasn't a negative conversation, like we weren't talking about the things she was struggling with. But I realized at that moment that I haven't really expressed gratitude for what she does at our campus and the role she plays and how she impacts the people of our community. And just as I've been thinking about that, I've been thinking about how I share thankfulness for my spouse and what we're coming up here talking about this week. Just the need and the importance of sharing our thankfulness for our spouses and having that be a regular rhythm, not just something that we do at Thanksgiving or birthdays or anniversaries, but a regular part of how we communicate with each other. And so one of the things we're going to be talking about is sharing thankfulness for our spouse, for what they bring to our marriage, for what they bring to us, for how God is using them in our lives, and for how we're better because of what God has brought together in our marriage and in the marriage of our young marrieds. So I'm really excited to talk about that, excited for some of the questions we've written in regards to that, and to the video that they're going to be watching that's talking about just being thankful for who God has brought into your life, and for the joy of being married and being married to that person in particular. We're also going to be talking about holiday traditions. And I know we covered a little bit of this last week, or at least in our groups, some of the conversations went that way as we talked about boundaries and creating a new family. But this month, we're going to be specifically diving into those new holiday traditions, merging the two families. You know, you got one spouse that's come with a bunch of traditions and one spouse that's come with completely different traditions, and talking about out of that creating new traditions and new holidays and new things you're looking forward to, and also how to embrace some of those that you came with and how to participate in your existing or your family of origin and participating in their celebrations as well. So I'm excited to talk about these things. The other one that I think is really important, I know it's been really important for my marriage, is budgeting. Man, so many people I talk to, and maybe you've experienced this, throw Christmas and Thanksgiving and birthdays and holidays, they throw it all on a credit card and they spend the next 11 months paying it off so they can do it again. And just getting out of this cyclic rate of setting a budget, of planning ahead of time, and of being prepared and equipped to tackle the holidays and the different things that come up throughout the year. So I think one of the videos that talks about budgeting for the holidays is super important. And just the idea of having conversations about these things, of talking regularly about what are we going to be doing for the holidays, how are we preparing for it, who are we buying what's the expectation, and what are we going to be doing. These are important things. And then finally, the most important thing is how are we as a new family, how are we going to incorporate Jesus in what we do? How are we not going to let the holidays be all about the presents and the gifts and the cookies and Santa Claus and Thanksgiving football? How are we going to incorporate Jesus into what we're doing? And we're not prescribing anything in these videos. What we're doing is we're creating an opportunity for these couples to have conversations about what that looks like for them. I think the only miss that we would have there is if they choose not to have Jesus as a part of what they're doing. There are a lot of different ways to do it. My family, for us, one of our favorite ways to incorporate Jesus regularly in the rhythm of the holidays is this thing that my wife discovered called the Giving Manger. I'm not associated with this. This is not a plug for them. But if you haven't heard it, I would suggest checking it out. I think it's really cool. And the idea is that there's this jar of hay, of little pieces of hay. And the goal is throughout the Advent season, throughout the days and weeks leading up to Christmas, to be doing things in kindness towards other people. And each time you do this thing of kindness, whatever it is, and it's not supposed to be showy, it's not about what you're doing, it's kind of to do these things in secret, is that you take one of those pieces of straw or hay and you place it in the manger, and you're putting bedding down for on Christmas Eve, baby Jesus to be laid in the manger. There's a really sweet story that goes along with it. But that's been one of our traditions, is getting our kids involved and doing kind things for each other and kids at school, and even sometimes mom and dad. For my kids, sometimes that looks like going into their brother's room and making his bed, or helping out and doing his chore when he doesn't know you're doing it. And it's just that idea of loving and serving and being thankful for other people. So whatever your traditions are, look at them and see what you could bring into your young married group. Encourage them to start making those traditions together. But above all, man, continue to love them, invest in them, and encourage them to do the same with their spouse. And out of this, I believe that God is going to create solid marriages that are built on a firm foundation of who Jesus is and who Jesus has called them to be. So again, thank you guys so much for investing, for serving and loving your church and loving the marriages in your church. I know you're making a huge impact, and I'm so thankful for it. I love you guys. Have a great October meeting, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.